Mathletes, we have our second lesson of Chapter 3. Multiplying decimals and whole numbers is what we'll be looking at doing today. You'll want to keep your decimal handout ready to refer to. We've got some steps on here as well. I'll give you an example, and then, of course, I always give you one to try yourself. Our skills for today are multiplying decimals with whole numbers, making sure we have a decimal in our answer correctly placed, and then always using that estimation from our first lesson to just check and make sure that our answer is close and reasonable. That way it doesn't get marked wrong if we can avoid finding a mistake before it gets checked. So how exactly do we multiply a whole number and a decimal? We're going to use our textbook as a resource, page 114, to just see the steps, look through their example, look at the key idea, and see how this gets done. We'll pause the video while you look. So you should have seen that multiplying whole numbers and decimals is not much different than multiplying whole numbers with whole numbers, which means if you are a struggler with long multiplication, this is a skill that we're going to need. So the more you practice, the better you'll get, the faster you'll be at solving these questions. So we multiply those digits just like we would with whole numbers. We count how many places of decimals were in the problem. So for example, a 1.235 multiplied by the whole number 6 has 3 places of decimals. What I mean by that is it has tenths, hundredths, and thousandths, and that's why there's 3. Our answer also needs 3 places. It needs tenths, hundredths, and thousandths as well. So once you get your digits from multiplying, you'll just go back and place a decimal correctly. Sometimes those places that we need to be decimals have no numbers in them. And if that's the situation, we will fill those in with zeros. Just like we did when we were adding and subtracting decimals, if a hundredths place was empty, we can fill it in with a bunch of nothing. And then we always want to estimate and just check that our answer is close. So maybe you multiplied well, but your decimal's in a weird spot. Estimation will help you catch that mistake before it becomes a permanent mistake. So these are the steps that you have on your handout. Pretend like the decimals aren't even there. In fact, if you want to rewrite it without the decimals, go for it. Multiply. Whatever is your multiplication strategy. So if you're a lattice kid, do a little lattice chart. If you're the traditional with the placeholder zeros, go for it. But we want to make sure we multiply correctly. So multiplication charts and all of that are helpful tools. Then you do accounting. How many digits in the problem were part of the decimal side? And then we want our answers to match. So we can see on this example, this problem, they multiplied 2, 8 times 7 and came up with a 196. They counted in step 2. The 8 was the only digit that was a decimal side, and so that makes one number because the 7 wholes didn't have any decimal numbers. So our answer needs matching one amount, and it's going to go between the 9 and the 6. So we can estimate. A 2.8 is kind of like a 3. 7. 3 times 7, 21. And a 19.6 is pretty doggone close to a 21. So these are the steps that we'll use when multiplying decimals with whole numbers. I'm going to walk you through this one. And this would be the example that I want you to copy onto your handout. I'm going to start off with a 32.1 being multiplied by an 8. I'm going to rewrite it by moving this times 8 part down below and just pretending like it's not over there anymore. And now I'm just going to use the traditional multiplication strategy of my own. 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, 24 plus 1, 25. All the multiplication has been done now. Now I need to do my counting job to figure out where is this decimal going to go. So when I look at the problem, there's only one number that is on the right side of that decimal, and it's the digit 1 in the tenths place. So my answer also needs 1, and my digit will be the 8 that's going to be in the tenths place. My decimal is going to go right in between, and it's going to separate the whole 256 from the parts. 8 parts. I don't need to fill in any zeros, so this job I don't need, but I can estimate to check. So I would probably take this and call it a 30, and I can work with an 8. 8 times 3, 2, 4, and then 1 0 goes at the end. 240 is about what my answer should be, and I came up with a 256.8, and that's pretty close to a 240. Remember, with rounding or estimating, we can use compatible numbers too, so that is an option for you. Make sure you have this work on your handout, and now we're going to give you one to try on your handout as well. So we'll give you a good place to look back to, just in case. So on your handout, I want you to copy down your problem, 24 3/10 multiplied by 6. Multiply your digits, figure out where the decimal needs to go, place that decimal in your answer, zeros if we need it, and then estimate to check. So if you multiply correctly, you would have come up with the digits. Try that again. You would have come up with the digits 1, 4, 5, 8. But we need to place a decimal. So I count. One number is to the right of the decimal in the problem. That's the 3 in the tens place. So my answer needs the same one spot. My decimal is going to sit in between the 5 and the 8 here, making this 145 and 8/10. If I estimated, I could call this about a 20 times 6, or even 20 times 5 would be close. And this is about 120. 145 is pretty close to the 120-ish. Remember, we're just looking for close. If my answer had been 14, 14 is nowhere near the 100-ish value. So estimation can help check yourself before you figure out I got it wrong. Here's my next example. I'm going to multiply these numbers together, and then I'm going to place my decimal in my answer. So it's really a 48 times 7. I can ignore all of those zeros because what happens when we multiply by a 0? We get nothing. So 7 times 8 is a 56. 7 times 4 is a 28, plus 5 more. Doesn't look like a 3. We'll make it look like a 3. So we come up with 336, but I need a decimal. So I'm going to count it in my problem. Here's what I count. The 0, the 4, the 8. That's 3 places. My answer needs the same 3 places. I need tenths, I need hundredths, and I need thousandths, which means my decimal is going to sit right there. This is where that 0 can go to show I have no holes. All I have are a bunch of little parts. So 0.336 is my answer. If I estimated this is like a nickel. This is very small. 7 nickels, if I counted, would be like 35 cents. And a 0.35 is pretty close to a 0.33. In fact, I could even extend this and call it 350 thousandths, which is really close to 336 thousandths. Give you one kind of like mine to try yourself. We'll pause the video while you work in your notebook to multiply, place your decimal, and always use an estimation to check. So your digit answer would have been a 148. Turn on a pen here. But that needs a decimal. So we count 1, 2, 3, and we place 1, 2, 3. Decimal's going to go there to separate your whole number from your parts. This would be a 0.148. Did you multiply correctly? Did you place the decimal correctly? We could put a 0 in this position here to show we don't have any whole dollars. An estimation, this is like a couple of pennies. So if I had 4 groups of a couple of pennies, you don't have very much money, which is why our answer is about 14 cents. So as long as you kind of end up with no holes, you're on the right track here. My next example here is a 3 1800ths multiplied by a 24. So I'm going to do my multiplication. The 4 gets multiplied by everything up above, just like with a regular times 2-digit number. 4 times 8, 4 times 1, plus 3 more, 4 times 3. Placeholder 0, because we're moving on to our next digit, which is a 20. 2 times 8, 2 times 1 plus 1, and 2 times 3. Now, I need to add these together because that's how long multiplication works with this strategy. Down each column I go, adding along the way. And I end up with 7632. But I need a decimal. So I count 1, 2, and I need 1, 2. Decimal is going to sit right on in there. I'm going to estimate to check that this is close. So we call this about a 3. I'm going to call this about a 25. Think money. 3/4 is about 75. So 3 wholes of 25 is about 75. And $76.32 is pretty close to 75 bucks. So I know that my answer is reasonable. We'll give you one to try. We'll pause the video while you solve this question in your notebook. Remember to multiply, count your decimals, place it in your answer, and always use an estimation to check that your answer makes sense. So the first part to check is to see if you came up with the right digits. So the digits for this answer, no matter which strategy you used for multiplication, would be a 2, 5, 7, 4, 0. This is a 7. Now we need a decimal. So if we count, the 1 and the 5 are both on the decimal side. So we would need 2 matching spots in our answer, making these on the side of the decimal. So the decimal is going to live here, making this about 250-ish, 257.4 or 0.40 to be exact. Check how'd you do. Are you able to multiply okay? Are you able to place a decimal in your answer as well? So our practice today is on journal page 64. It's activity 3. Read through the directions and do some back to school shopping. Happy practicing.